This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, nerds. I'm Mark Weber, and you are listening to A Graphic Conversation, the bi-weekly podcast where we read, discuss, and recommend, or change that one if you haven't noticed already, recommend the best, and hopefully not the worst, in graphic novels. Now, I'm joined as I am every week by my good friend and the original man-child, Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And this time we read, and I have it right here so I can show you. We have AntMan's Second Chance Man. That's what we read this time. Like I said, we read, we discuss, we recommend, graphic novels bi-weekly basis. So
I know
this has been a fun one.
I know we're 5 or 6 episodes in. It still feels weird to hear recommend instead of review.
Yeah.
It still feels weird, and we're halfway through the season by now.
And not only does it still feel weird, but it still is difficult to get that out of my mouth instead of review. But as you know, and as we talked about in episode 1 of this season, we changed it a little bit because we thought this fit a little bit better.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do. If you've never listened before, welcome. If you have listened before, you know how it works, but let me tell everybody. The way this is going to work is we are going to go through our standard stuff, spoiler free at the beginning, and then we will get into the spoiler zone. But don't worry, we will warn you when to do it. And if you guys don't mind, while we are here, I just want to do a little bit of the good old housekeeping while we're here. A few things that we would love you to do. Go check out our t-shirts, Most Valuable Podcast t-shirts. The link is down below in the description. You can check that out, and you can get yourself one of those. It's fantastic. And you can also check out our website, mostvaluablepodcasts.com. While you're checking out things, go to our Patreon, our patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcasts, and you can check out some awesome rewards. You could be on one of our podcasts if you want. And what we can also do, you can get A Graphic Conversation early. That's one of the nice things. If you're a fan of A Graphic Conversation, you can get it a whole week early, either audio or video.
Just $1.
Yeah.
Just $1.
Or $2 if you want the video, depending on if you're one of those people. But yeah, you can get that early. If you wouldn't mind, go on iTunes and anywhere you get your podcast, but especially iTunes, I think is a great one to give us a 5-star review, because that's something that really helps us out with people finding us, people being able to search for us, and that way then they can say, should I listen to this? Well, yeah, because this person told me I should listen. So we really do appreciate that. Follow us on Twitter at MostValuablePod. I'm at @TheMarkWeber. You are at Ricky Widmer.
The plain old Ricky Widmer.
Simple.
That was one I grabbed so early before we were on YouTube. I'm like, yes, I am the at Ricky Widmer.
Yeah, I don't think that I didn't try, but I don't think there's any way I would have gotten at Mark Weber.
Yeah.
No way. I don't even think I would have gotten at Mark_Weber.
Well, and now I don't want to change it because I don't want anyone to take it.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, this is a spoiler-free zone right now. So, Ricky, let me first ask, when it comes to AntMan's Second Chance Man, and I know this was one you were excited to get to. You were excited to read it. What would have been your expectations and what you were thinking before you kind of came into Second Chance Man?
Since this is the thing I knew coming into this, that this was a Scott Lang Ant-Man story, I expected it to be funny. That's who Scott Lang is. There's going to be comedy in the Ant-Man graphic novel. And also that's in the movie, that's why Paul Rudd is a great Scott Lang, because there's that comedy aspect to it. So I expected a lot of puns in this one. However, the one thing I didn't expect, this is my almost a spoiler, not a spoiler kind of thing. The thing I didn't expect is how many cultural references there were as well. And I didn't expect him to Deadpool it and break the fourth wall kind of like he did. Because he it wasn't a full break the fourth wall, like, hey, I'm talking to you right now. But it was I'm kind of breaking the fourth wall by talking to myself.
Yeah, what you get out of the Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know Ant-Man is less popular. That's why I'll say something like that. to people who don't know Ant-Man as well. Although, it's one of the...
This one was really funny.
This is a funny one, and the movies have been funny, too. Well, I mean, there's only been one, and I'm expecting the second one will be funny. So, people expect that kind of comedy out of it. So, my expectations coming into this, I've never been a crazy Ant-Man fan. I was surprised when I really, really loved the movie. Doesn't quite break into my Marvel top 5, but it's not far off. I love Paul Rudd as an actor, so that's definitely good. But for me, I kind of expect and people will get mad at me for saying this, but I don't mean it as an insult, Spider-Man-esque. Because you get a little bit of, with Scott Lang, a little bit of the Peter Parker-ish.
Only difference is that he's an adult, Peter Parker's in high school.
But you still get the wit. You still get the sass a little bit out of him. And it's definitely a fun read, which is what I would expect out of Ant-Man. That's what you'd want out of Ant-Man, is to have something quick and fun. And we'll talk about... I have a little bit of comments about that in the spoiler zone that we'll get to. So that's that. Now... The other question for those of the people listening who have not read this, who's it for? Who should read this comic?
This one is for, first off, if you're a Marvel fan, this is a must-read for you. Like, if you love Marvel comics, you are going to like this one. Also, I mean, if you like Ant-Man, you've got to read it. But like you said, I don't want to disrespect Ant-Man, but there's not many people that go, like, who's your favorite hero? Oh, I really like Ant-Man. Like, he's my favorite. But also, if you like to laugh and you like to sit there, like, this was one where while I was reading it, I was laughing out loud. And like, there were parts where I had to stop reading because I was laughing and had to like finish laughing before I continued reading.
Yeah. And I think that if you liked the movie, this is very in vein of the movie.
Yes.
The first movie, at least. If you like Spider-Man, I always think Ant-Man's a good fit for you because, like I said, some of the sass and things like that. If you like Deadpool, same thing. If you like... I'm trying to think of a good way to say it. If you like things that are kind of meta and are willing to make fun of themselves, you're going to love it. Because there's tons of that in this book of them making fun of the fact that it is Ant-Man, the fact that it's a comic, the fact that it is a modern comic, having references to things like Uber, and apps and a superhero that's just on her phone the whole time. That type of thing is really, it's fun. It's different. And it's something that, we see it more and more now, but sometimes we also get that awkward, it's a modern graphic novel or comic, but we're pretending like certain things just don't exist. That doesn't do any of this. So now... we said that we would recommend it, and let's remember, we both said that people should read it so far. Let's remember that we are in the spoiler-free zone here, Ricky. Without breaking anything apart too much and without spoiling anything, do you have a favorite thing that you think might hook somebody of why they should read it?
My favorite thing that would hook you is I'm going to harp on it again. This is a fun read.
Yeah.
Because of the comedy, it's a fun read. And it's not long either. It's not a super long graphic novel. You want something that took me maybe like a couple hours to read. You laughed. You had a good time. You should go ahead and read it.
Yep. And for those of you, I could have done this earlier, but I kind of was excited to get into it. So let me give you a little bit of a description of what this is like. So this last selling point before we get into the spoiler zone here. But Scott Lang has never exactly been the world's best superhero. Heck, most people don't even think he's the best Ant-Man. And the last guy invented Ultron and joined the Masters of Evil. So that's saying something. The last guy who thought he was the best Ant-Man. Now, when Iron Man calls with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Scott's going to get a second chance to be the hero he's always dreamed of becoming. But then he faces off against his old foe, the Taskmaster, who is the mystery villain pulling the strings. That's the question, because we're getting a little spoiler here in this description a little bit. So I'm going to skip some stuff that are even more spoilery in the back of it.
It shocks me that this is on the back of the book,
right?
Too.
So Scott Lang essentially finds himself into a situation where other people are pulling the strings, and he's going to figure it out.
It's a second chance, man.
Yeah. There's some spoilers in the back cover.
I didn't expect spoilers, and I didn't read the back cover. So that's why, I was like, really? It says it? Because I didn't really know that Taskmaster was in it until I read it.
Yeah. Which is the way it's supposed to be.
I guess I could say that because now you let that
it's supposed to be a shut up and read moment, I think. But yeah, we both definitely think this is something you should read. So we would recommend, don't do it yet, but hit pause soon. I'll let you know. And read it. I mean, you can find it. And what you can do then is join in on the conversation down below in the comment section at Ricky Widmer, at the Mark Weber. But if you just want to go through, that's fine. You can just be part of this. And this is why we get copyright strikes on everything.
Hey, it is a cover. It is a cover of the song.
I don't know about that. But you can be a part of the conversation, whether you want to read it or you don't care and you're just here for the conversation. Thank you guys, and we will see you on the other side of the spoiler zone, which happens right now, so hit pause. All right, we're in the spoiler zone. All right, so things will get ruined. Things will get spoiled if you haven't read it already. So hopefully you're not sitting there still going, should I hit pause? The answer is yes. You probably should if you're going to read it. Or if you don't want things spoiled, come back for us. We're never going away.
It's like I say for our movie reviews. I'll wait as long as you want me to.
Yeah.
I'll sit here and wait as long as you want me to.
If you hit pause, we live here. So not much happens. But let's go through this. Let's go panel by panel. Let's start with the very first one.
Okay.
Up on the left. But no. So this thing is going to start off in, I guess, a very classic way of just essentially the misdirect. So he starts off and he's breaking into something. This is exactly the way you expect Ant-Man to begin.
And
right?
I like how, if I'm not mistaken, it's kind of like this thing where it's like, I'm not a bad guy. I try to do the right thing, but usually it ends up the wrong way. And it kind of sets you up for, you're like, what's he breaking into exactly?
There's this awesome theme that continues through this whole thing. And the reason why it's really not the reason, but one of the reasons why it's called Second Chance Man, the fact that it's constantly him struggling
with himself.
I'm trying to kind of have this identity and things keep not fitting into what I want this identity to be. And that's that thing of, I'm not a bad guy. I know I'm doing things that aren't that great, but I'm not a bad guy. I want you to remember that. I want you to know that. I know that I maybe am not the best Ant-Man, but I'm a pretty damn good Ant-Man. Things like that are happening this whole time. Like I said, it's a little bit of a misdirect at the beginning on purpose, of course, because they want you to experience that of the, because he is kind of a criminal. He is kind of a bad guy. He's not squeaky clean. He is a little bit of a gray hero in a way.
Because it's just the Scott Lang character where he was a thief before he took on the Ant-Man role.
Exactly. And he still has a little bit of those temptations that come in, like when he's in the bank vault and he wants to take the money. Nazi gold, essentially. But yeah, so we have this. We're going in the beginning, and as we go through, and we'll let me ask you right away because we're right in here.
Okay.
Any thoughts on the art of the book?
I liked it. I thought it fit the graphic novel. Like, it's not one where this isn't one that's going to jump out as like, holy crap, this is a majestically beautiful piece of art.
Yeah. It's comic book.
Yeah, it fit a comic book. It fit Marvel. It had that kind of not cartoony style, but close to that while staying true to a comic book. The thing that's
difficult, I find myself saying this every now and then, is when you have something like this, and now we are so ingrained into the Marvel Cinematic Universe that when you see one where they didn't purposefully make Tony Stark look like
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, exactly. Robert Downey Jr. It doesn't look weird. It just feels weird.
Well, I know I don't have it in front of me. Let me see it really quick.
Yeah. Because he's got the goatee. His hair is a little not quite, what Robert Downey Jr. would be. So things like that just kind of throw you off every now and then. Are you looking for who the artist is?
Well, no, not who the artist is. I'm trying to look for the I'll actually look it up online. I'll tell you, because another thing with that is when you think of, like you said, when they don't make him look like Tony Stark look like Robert Downey
like when
Jr.
they had Thor, and Thor looks way different.
The thing that I think about is, when was it written? When did it come out? And this was 2015.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is pretty new.
Yeah, this one was 2015. So we have been in the MCU to this point.
Yeah. For a long time.
Yeah.
For a long time. And, you get, and it's okay, you don't have to do that, but you do have some of those weird balances where sometimes they are like, I will make this look like the
how
actor.
they just did the Infinity War prelude, where it was a comic series that is canon to the movies. So, like, all those characters look like what they look like in the movies.
Exactly. I mean, that's a classic thing with, I'm going to go in a completely different direction. Classic thing with Star Wars of those characters look like the actors. They have to. The actors came first
Especially like Han Solo.
Yeah.
Who we read earlier.
Yeah, the actors come first in this case, so they have to look like that. Yeah. Where this, I mean, the character comes first. You're not going to make this guy look like Paul Rudd, although Paul Rudd, it didn't happen yet at this point. That movie hadn't come out until 2017, I think. The first one? 2016.
No, it couldn't have been that. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, you look it up. But anyways, you're not going to do all that. So some of those things are there.
2015.
2015, really?
July of 2015.
Man, the years fly by. It's 2018 right now.
Well, the reason why, this came out, obviously, this comic came out before the movie, because I remember back in a previous season of A Graphic Conversation, I wanted to read this for the Ant-Man movie, but it didn't line up.
Yep, exactly. So anyways, to go through the thing, so they're going through all this, and he's talking about how he's going through the break-in and everything. And the break-in, we're going to later find out, is related to Stark. So
what a twist.
Yeah, right. He's in a job interview, and there's this interesting thing going on here where he's like, I'm trying to prove myself, and Tony Stark doesn't like me. The guy interviewing me doesn't like me. Nobody really likes me. And that theme, of course, continues on where no one likes him. His ex-wife doesn't like him.
His daughter likes him.
His daughter likes him. Taskmaster doesn't like him. He's like, whoa, dude, I'm not your arch enemy. I don't even care who you are. I really don't know much about you. Which is great. Which is funny to me, too, because I think Taskmaster is one of the dumbest supervillains.
Really?
Because
I'm on the other side of the thing that I love most about Taskmaster, this is just in general, is on the side of putting yourself into the hero shoes.
Yeah.
How do you overcome a guy that once he sees you do a move, he learns it, knows how to counter it.
Right.
And you can't get the jump on him.
You have to really do something to surprise or trick him. My problem with that is eventually he wins. He can't lose. Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, right? I'm sorry, I'm about to spoil things like that, but there's an episode.
We already read that.
Yeah, you guys go back to that season. But that was the thing. Taskmaster was surprisingly one of the last people that they were like, he can do it. He can beat Deadpool. Nobody else can, but he can finally do it. Because in theory, Taskmaster should be able to beat everybody.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like him. Because in comics, it doesn't work out. There's always some way that they get past him. And it feels to me always very Batman's utility belt that you somehow get something to beat him. But anyways, that's not the point. And the funny thing I like about with this one is Ant-Man loses to Taskmaster. But Taskmaster just does this thing, which I think was a little bit of a cop-out. Where he's like, oh, I was just here to distract you, so I'll see you later.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. I mean, so we're basically taking the lose. I honestly...
He loses, but hey, we can't kill you, so...
Right. I mean, I'm debating in my head if I want to do a Black Panther spoiler right now. Can I get away with that? It's too soon. I can't do it.
Spoiler, like, jump ahead. I'll give you 10 seconds. Go.
I'm going to keep my hand up in the air. When my hand comes down, then you can get rid of this Black Panther spoiler. Okay. So anyways, it's like the fact that Black Panther comes out there and he's this great superhero, and then the second fight we see him, he loses. And you're like, oh, I guess he's not that strong. And then he comes back and he wins again. All right, we're done.
You know what I just noticed?
Yeah.
If people are listening on podcast services... Hey, when my hand comes down...
Well, we told them to go forward some minutes,
I think that was under 10 seconds.
Yeah, and I don't think that was really that bad of a spoiler.
No.
Maybe a little bit, but it's not that bad of a spoiler.
A spoiler's a spoiler, bro.
Yeah. So anyways, to get off of Black Panther and go back to Ant-Man. I'm sorry, that movie just came out and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But Well, not just came out early. I mean, I guess it's been a couple months, but still, it's still awesome. So anyways, that's my problem with Taskmaster. But anyway, let's go back to the beginning with Stark.
So he's breaking into Stark's complex.
Yeah. Now, this setup for you with Stark, what are you feeling right now? What are you feeling towards the beginning here where Stark doesn't like him, but he's like, I guess I'll give you a chance. Everybody doesn't really like him. They're doing this kind of narrative style. How are you feeling about it?
I mean, to me, I didn't feel any which way about it. I just felt like it was normal. Like, where Tony Stark, you got to think, he's a guy where he's flying with the Avengers. He's a big-time superhero. Ant-Man's kind of like small potatoes, to where it's like, yeah, you know what, Scott? We've worked together. We've done some things in the past. I guess I'll give you a shot. Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you in the room, impress me, kind of a thing. I could see it because Tony Stark, that's the kind of guy he is, to where it's like, you know what? I'll put you in there, but you got to prove it to me. I'm not just gonna give it to you.
I kind of like some of the Tony Stark moments in this. Like, one example, he has the billboard, and they have Iron Man on the billboard that's saying, I'd hire him, because he did. He hired him. And I think that, honestly, that billboard is one of the things I think is my funniest moment in this whole thing.
Is that like when they were down in Miami, right?
Yeah, that's the billboard down in Miami where it's got the big old ant. He's riding an ant, and on the corner it's Iron Man saying, I'd hire him. And then he's like, well, he probably won't care about that. I'm sure he would approve of it. And then the next panel is him saying, sue him.
Sue him.
Yeah. And I love that moment right there.
That's even like, and I'm going to jump ahead here a little bit.
Yeah.
When he was in the bank vault, and he was fighting that robot.
Yeah.
Like, the old guys in the board of trustees, it made me laugh so much when the one guy's like, well, at least he's not a mutant.
Yep,
and the other
perfect.
one goes, God, Todd, you're a fucking racist.
Yeah, you're so racist. And it's so great. I love it. Those guys were great. I love his...
I love how it tied in X-Men into the universe and the whole thing where it's like mutants and non-mutants and how they hate each other.
They do a really good job in this one of really going out and grabbing things and pulling different references in.
And like that didn't feel like, oh, wow, that was a stretch. It felt organic, and it felt like it just breathed with the comic.
Yeah. I love that at some point they have a supervillain that they're going to go and work with, and they show this scene where he's getting attacked by Thor and the Avengers and their little kids, things like that. They pull random things, and I'm a fan of that. But so he's going, and basically he needs to figure some things out. He needs to get right, and he's dealing with this struggle of how do I make myself successful to impress not necessarily my ex-wife, but to make her happy enough to where I can be in my daughter's life.
Yes.
The whole thing really does center around him helping his daughter. Is really what it comes down to.
And like, I love the thing I love also about this is the pop culture references. Like how, oh shoot, I'm going to mess up
Hunger Games?
Not Hunger Games. It's like Hunger Games.
Well, the thing was that they were talking
Battle
about
Royale.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like, how many comics are you going to get that is going to give you a Battle Royale kind of spot in there where most people would be like, I didn't even know what Battle Royale was.
It's a Hunger Games knockoff.
Until
That's the joke.
Until Dave said, hey, you got to check out Battle Royale.
Yeah. And yeah, they definitely have a lot of those things. They're having iPhones in it now. They have the Uber-like app.
Like where he buys the little toy apartment.
Yeah.
Shrinks them down so they can sit on the couch and they're watching it on the big screen,
watching
which
the
is the iPhone.
Yep. It's great. But I like that, he gets the job for Tony Stark by basically breaking into his house, and that was the test. And, that's a comic moment is what it is.
Well, I also like the girl that was in the interview where it's like she tried to do it the other way of I'm going to schmooze Tony.
No, he didn't. She was an assassin.
That's right.
She was trying to get to him to kill him.
That's right. But she did the whole I'm going to schmooze him to get in there and then kill him.
And he just broke in to do it. And of course, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of a comic moment when it's like, no, that was the real test. And it's like, all right, that's a little bit of, that's cheesy.
But that's what you
it is what you expect
it, so you're not mad at it.
I'm not mad at it, but there's a lot of cheese in this book.
Yeah,
a lot of cheese.
I love lay on that cheese, man. I love the cheese. The cheese.
The one thing I will say, when I'm at this is like the first 5 issues or something like that. When I'm at issue 4, it did get to a point where I was like, all right, I'm a little ready for this style to be done. Like, you know, I don't know if it's just me being a party pooper.
I think it's you being a party pooper.
But
I didn't get that at all.
I was like, all right, I'm a little over it at this point. But anyways, so yeah, they're there. He gets this very convenient, no, you stumbled into exactly what I wanted you to do moment. And then he saves Tony and he gets the job, but he chooses not to take it because his ex-wife is taking the daughter and moving into Miami. So he's going to move to Miami. All right. That's where we're at right now in the story. For those of you who don't know. So he goes there.
And
I
just want to say, I know that she's written this way. Like, she's written for you to hate her.
Yeah.
I hate the ex-wife.
Yep.
I hate her so, like, I get that in this, she's written that way for you to, you're on Scott's side, you're not on her side, but I just hated her so much. To where it's like, wow, you're being a real bitch right now. You know that? You know that? Like, this guy is trying to do the right thing for his daughter. But to be fair,
she does have a point, though. There's a lot of superhero activity here. We're getting out.
She does make good points, and I do like how they reference that. But, like, I couldn't help but sit there and go, wow, you're a bitch. Like, this guy is trying so... And I get it. It's supposed to be on Scott's side, not her side.
Yep.
But I couldn't help but fall into that pitfall. I couldn't help it.
Which is what they want.
That's exactly what they want.
So they go to Miami, and I love the Grizzly Man.
You got the wrong Ant-Man, man. That wasn't me.
I love it so much.
I was in prison at that time.
And I love it too. No, he was dead, I think, at that point.
Oh, that's
right. They kept
right.
referencing that he was dead at one point.
He's like, I was dead and I came back.
And they
were?
They keep being like, and I was dead, and it's weird. It's confusing. And I love that because I hate that type of stuff when it's like, Superman's dead, Superman's back. You know,
yeah, death of Superman. Don't bring that up.
They mention Captain America being dead at one point. And this of how, you know, Tony Stark, Iron Man, kills Captain America. And they're like, yeah, and, you know, he's back. But, you know, whatever. That type of stuff where I'm always... That's my moment where I do always say, I wish somebody would have the cojones...
To kill someone.
To kill someone and leave them dead. But anyways, that's not the discussion right now.
That's a comic book discussion for a different day.
In general, that's a Rick and Johnny podcast type of discussion, I believe.
Why don't we kill comic book characters?
I wish. But yeah, so I like that they make fun of a lot of those things. But yeah, the Grizzly character, I just love his costume.
He's hilarious. Him in a grizzly suit.
It's just funny, yeah. It's like guy in a grizzly suit with these sharp claws.
Like, he was supposed to be like the Barney Rubble to AntMans Fred. Like the comic relief to the comedy.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Let's just lay some more comedy
and
onto
I like
it.
that then they're like, all right, well, I'll tell you who was the correct Ant-Man. And, oh, yeah, he's gone already. Oh, shit, well, now what do I do? You know, now I'm pointless. So he gets a job with him. And I think this idea of a superhero and a supervillain working together. Not in like let's take down the ultimate bad guy. No, like they just have a job, you know, together.
Like, I'm going to employ you as my security company. You're going to do all the lifting boxes and doing the heavy lifting for me.
So what I want to get to is towards the end, because then we realize that Taskmaster, you know, or not necessarily realize, but Taskmaster comes to get him, and then they're like, oh, I did not expect
Darren Cross to be in this one. Like, that was another twist to where when he came back, I know I'm jumping probably a little bit too far.
That's where I'm trying to go, though. Yeah, so we're good. I think
like that was a surprise to me, where it's like, really, Darren Cross? Because like another thing, like you said, linking movie to this.
Yeah,
I was like, wait, wasn't Darren Cross the Yellow Jacket who, like, he's dead, but we're bringing him back?
And I think that's one of those things, because they make the jokes about being dead and stuff like that. So after he does come back, you're like, oh, it makes sense why they're making these. Well, not necessarily that it makes sense why they're making the jokes, but it fits in with them making these jokes about people being dead and coming back and it being confusing.
And I like how they were like, you know what, we're going to use your daughter to bring... Like, his son was like, I'm using your daughter to bring my dad back.
Yeah. And it made sense, too, because at first when you get that, you're just once again being like, oh, this is very comic book. Of course we're going to do that. But then they also do go a step further to explain of, no, it's because her heart has a certain thing where it shrinks if it gets too stressed and stuff. So it actually will work for him. It'll make sense. then I like the fact that that's all, of course, also the demise that comes back to be the thing that haunts him.
Yeah.
But what I want to get to with this, with having that be the comeback and stuff like that, I want to get to 2 questions: favorite and least favorite moments in this.
My favorite moment was the entire bank scene with him fighting the robot. Even the discussion, like everything leading up to that fight with the bankers in the room when he's trying to get the loan. Because even before that, it's like, no, I'm Ant-Man. Oh, come on, really? Like they're making fun of him. You've got the comment, like I said, with the mutants. It's like, wow, you are a racist. My least favorite moment? Oh, shoot. Do I have a least favorite moment in this one?
And if you don't, that's all right. I'll forgive you.
You know what? I'm going to let you... How about you give me the...
All right.
Pass over the comic. You give your best while I look at... Because I got to refresh my memory on my least favorite.
So for me, my favorite moment, like I said, I think that the billboard they have is hilarious. And the fact that he later on goes to say, I've always wanted a billboard to his ex-wife. I think that's fun. I'm a bit of a sucker for the father-daughter relationships and things. So I enjoyed that part, and that he's just trying to do good things for his daughter. The one thing that bugs me, and it fits with his character, so I'm not mad necessarily, but it bugs me, is at the very end, he realizes, of course, that my ex-wife is actually doing a good thing. She's actually kind of right. I shouldn't be by my daughter because I'm creating these bad things that are happening around her.
Because I'm just bringing the superhero stuff with me.
Exactly. But what bugs me is she's in the hospital. He doesn't go see her when she's in the hospital. He leaves instead. Then he goes and sneaks into her room while she's asleep to basically say bye. And you couldn't have given me a moment where she acknowledged it? Like, you couldn't have had something where she knew he was there?
No, you got to do the cliche where he knows, but she doesn't know.
And I'm like, that makes... He's just complaining about how he was trying to be a good dad and stuff, but that makes you a bad dad. Like, you're just walking out on your daughter's life instead of being like, hey, hon, I know you're old enough to understand that I'm going back to New York for your safety. I'll see you at Christmas. Nope, you're just going to walk out and she's going to think she's got a shitty dad giving her daddy issues for the rest of her life.
You know what, though? Like, I didn't think about that because, like, even when you look at it, just the last few panels, I love you so much, Cassie. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. My reason for, well, everything. But it's like they always say, sometimes when you really love someone, the best thing you can do for them is let them go. And the thing I love most about that is this is the kind of inner struggle of, yes, she could wake up and think that, but think about the other side. Think about what happens if he tells her, like, hey, I'm going off. Then it creates a whole different problem of her, no, you're like, don't go. I need you in my life. Mom, how can you do this? It turns her against the mother.
No,
then.
I don't think it would turn her against the mother. He would say that I am doing this. I need to go back to New York.
But
now what I think
kids don't think the same way that adults do. Especially high school kids. Or college, high school
She's
area.
middle school, high school age. I think they said she was 14 or 15. So high school age. My problem with
kids
it,
like
essentially,
to blame people for things.
But it's a comic book. The writer's got control over that. He can choose to not do that.
You gotta make it believable.
But all I wanted was, at the very least, either he has a discussion or a simple panel where you can tell she heard him.
Like an eye, like the bottom eye open, like sometimes you do, where it's like, I'm gonna keep that bottom eye open.
Or like
so
a little
smirk
or something like that after he kisses her on the cheek. Something that will acknowledge that
she wasn't really sleeping.
That she heard him. And like I said, I'm not mad because it fits Scott Lang's character.
Yes.
It fits him to just be like, I'm just gonna bail. Works.
He's supposed to be the guy where I do the right thing, but I still get viewed as the bad guy.
Exactly.
That is who Scott
Lang
is.
And he's going to do the right thing, but it might not always be the right way.
Yes.
Exactly. And it, like I said, it fits the character.
Yes.
I just wish the writer would have given me something to be like, okay, I don't feel bad for his daughter right now. Because when I read that, I'm like, I feel bad for the daughter now. Because she's going to wake up in the morning and think that her dad abandoned her.
See, I was on the other side. I felt bad for Scott.
Well, I felt bad for him, too.
I felt the worst for Scott to where it's like, he can't have what he wants because of the Ant-Man thing. Like, he has to do the right thing by doing the wrong thing.
He's making the choice.
Yes.
She's not making a choice.
Yes.
She is just suffering from her dad's choice.
Yes. Maybe it's because I didn't think about that.
Bad for her.
I only thought about because I put myself in the Ant-Man shoe.
That's the only reason why I'm like, I mean, and I know that I'm reading further into this than I'm sure a lot of people do.
Well, you tend to do that. You tend to read in a little further than I do.
Yeah, I'm a deep reader. But I'm just like, I'm like, writer, you know, for you as a writer, just give me something that makes me not feel bad for the kid. That's all I wanted. And maybe, who knows, maybe in the next issue it comes up.
Yeah.
You know, you never know. That's why we just read this, and we got to maybe read in the future. True. We'll see what happens if there's more Ant-Man movies. But anything else? Anything we missed?
The only thing with this one that I kind of wanted to put in there was this one to me really didn't have, just to go back to, because I tried to look for my worst moment. I don't have one. Like, this one did not have, probably the downest moment where there was like no action was probably the part where you learn about Cross's son and he's talking to the doctor, but even that had storyline implications to it, to where now you're thinking about things. Like, this was altogether, it was not a graphic novel that made me go, holy shit, this was amazing. But I after I read it, I'm like, this was really good. Like, I laughed during this one. I had a fun time during this one. It was a just genuine good read.
So, what's your recommendation?
My recommendation for it is, like I said before, if you love Marvel Comics, if you just love, like, if you love a good time, and for me, how I would do it is, it's not necessarily one where I'm going out there and saying, you've got to read this one, but I'm putting it on the list.
Yeah.
Put it on the list. You get around to it. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, I think for me, my recommendation is similar. You should read it. I think this is kind of one of those times you should pick it up and you should put it on the list in the sense of the next time you're in between a couple things.
Yes.
Sneak this guy in there.
Yes, because it's only going to take short read.
Yeah, it'll only take you an hour, hour and a half if you're a little slower reader.
I'm a little slower.
You know, it's all right. It's all right. I forgive you. You know, it's going to be pretty quick, so you'll be able to, you know, just blaze right through this one for sure. So sneak it in there. Go ahead.
I want to ask you this, and I've asked you this almost every time we do this, or every few times we do this. When you read a graphic novel, do you read it in your head or do you say them out loud?
I read it in my head.
Okay. See, I'm on the other side. I was talking to Dave about this recently, to where I'm a guy where when I read a graphic novel, I say everything out loud and I do almost different voices for everything. Or like, for example, if I'm reading Batman, I try to do...
You start doing the Batman voice.
No, not that one. I try to like do as close to the Kevin Conroy as I can. Or like if it's a Russian character, I try to do a Russian accent. So I dive into the story a little bit more.
Interesting. I like it. Let us know what you do down in the comment section. That's going to be my transition. But no, seriously, let us know what you guys thought about this one down in the comments. We really do appreciate it. If you disagreed with things that we said, at Ricky Widmer, at the Mark Weber, or at Most Valuable Pod, just in general. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. If you like the video, thumbs up. Please, subscribe if you haven't already, because we got more stuff. Check out the Rick and Johnny podcast. We got a lot of that. We got movie reviews. So I don't know if you're one of those people that like watching movies.
You got to.
You might want to know what's good and what's not worth your time. So we got movie reviews there. Most Valuable Podcast shirts.
And for the movie reviews, the main reason why we're reading this one, Johnny and I are going to be going seeing Ant-Man and the Wasp.
That's right. I'm excited about Ant-Man and the Wasp. Just going to keep doing this. MVP t-shirts. You can get them down below in the description. There's a link. MostValuablePodcast.com, of course. And, of course, Patreon, too. If you're so excited, you love this episode, you want the next one, but you don't want to wait 2 weeks, well, you can go ahead and get it in just 1 week.
You can get it next week,
$1, $2, you can get video or audio depending on what you want. And let me tell you a little bit about what maybe next week or in 2 weeks is going to be for you. So we're going to be reading Teen Titans Volume 1, a kids game. A lot of us probably remember Teen Titans from the little cartoon. So this is a dawn of a new era with Teen Titans, a kids game. Witness the gathering of a new team of Teen Titans and their initial battle against an old familiar foe, Deathstroke. The reasons behind his actions prove shocking to the team, and before the teen heroes can even get their feet on the ground, they must re-encounter the cult of Brother Blood. So basically, this is kind of going for some old favorites.
Based off of that, I'm going to do a new thing here on AGC. Based off of that, first impressions before we get to it next week.
First impressions, as someone who used to watch the Teen Titans cartoon,
I can't wait.
I'm excited.
I can't wait to read
have
this
some
one.
of this stuff, to go back for some of this. And I'm excited because it is very much like, these are new
Titans.
people, so it's going to be fun to see how they are different than what we're used to. You guys can find out very soon in 2 weeks when we read Teen Titans, a kids game.